One of the great people of all time, my friend William Jefferson Clinton.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. 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 Thank you very much. First, you guys calm down. You'll make me forget I'm out of politics. Let me say first to all of you, Chairman Curry, thank you for your welcome. Congressman Pascal, thank you for your friendship and the wonderful support you gave me in the 8 years we worked together. Senator Weinberg, I think it's appropriate that a progressive, incorruptible Jewish grandmother will be New Jersey's first lieutenant governor. And President Nikolai, thanks for the digs. I haven't been here since 1996, but I haven't forgotten. And let me say to all of you, I'm here speaking for at least 2 members of my family tonight because the Secretary of State cannot participate in politics anymore. Under the rules of our government, and they're good rules, the Secretary of Defense, the Secretary of State can't take an active part in politics. But on Hillary's birthday yesterday, one of the things she did was to call Jon Corzine and wish him well because we love this guy and we think he's a good governor. And so, you know, the president got off a good line the other day. I wish I'd have thought of it. He said the Republicans got us into this mess, and now they're all complaining that we're not getting us out of it quick enough. Of course, they're sitting on the sidelines hoping we'll mess up. Let me say, you know, you can read and listen to the news coverage, and they'll say this election's about a lot of things. It is true that people will look at the returns and they'll see it as a preliminary verdict on the new administration, right or wrong. But as Governor Corzine has said repeatedly, this election is not about the president or about him or anybody else. It's about you and your children and your grandchildren. The other day I did an interview and the guy said, well, how do you want to be remembered? He said, what do you want to be on your tombstone? I said, I don't want to go there. You know that old joke about this preacher who was really boring and he put everyone to sleep with every sermon. And then one day something happened, a fire came into his belly and he was just waving his arms and he had everybody exercise and he said, I want everybody who wants to go to heaven to stand up. And the whole congregation stood up, except Mrs. Jones, an 80-year-old woman who had never missed a day in church. She sat right there. And he said, Sister Jones, don't you want to go to heaven when you die? And she jumped up. She said, oh, yeah, I thought you were trying to get up a load to go right now. So I don't answer those tombstone questions, but what I did say to the guy was I thought when all your business is done, and I realized that when I was last here in 96, that's the last time I was on a ballot. I can't believe it's been that long because I still get around and stir at these elections a little bit. But I said, you know what really matters is whether people are better off when you quit than when you started, whether the children have a brighter future, and whether your community, whether it's the town or the state or the nation or the world, is coming together instead of being torn apart. That's all that really matters. The rest of it's just all background music. And I did some research on this because, you know, before I was president, I was a governor for 12 years. And for most of the time I was governor, in the middle of America, we were in constant recession. And the manufacturing base was being eaten out. And I worked literally for 9 years to restructure the economy of our state. And when I came here running in 92, where we won handily here since 96, but in 92, Al Gore and I carried New Jersey by a single point, so Passaic County put us over, and I thank you for that very, very much. But anyway, by then we had the fastest growing economy in the country, and here's why I say that. I supported the president's economic stimulus and the financial reforms, and I strongly support all this money that's been put into building a clean energy future. I strongly support the Congress in their efforts to reform health care, and I believe with all my heart we're going to get a health care reform bill out of Congress in the near future. And I've been saying that ever since the election results came in, so I believe that. But here's what I know. The shape and speed of this economic recovery and the shape and speed and quality of the implementation of health care reform will depend in large measure on the governors of the 50 states and their legislative allies, and it will be different from state to state. And therefore, though I am devoted to the governor personally, he is my friend, he has been Hillary's friend, and we love him, I'd be here if I barely knew him because of the following things. I did some research on this. You know, they used to make fun of me for being a policy wonk. Then, after I was gone a few years, people kind of liked paying attention to the detail. But anyway, so I prepared a brief little talk. The title of this talk is, "Why is this a race?" Okay, listen to this. Under Jon Corzine, New Jersey ranks first among all states in median income and was one of 5 to have an increase in income last year when everybody else was going down. Under Jon Corzine, New Jersey was the first state in the country to pass an economic recovery plan used by the Obama administration as a model that has cash payments for new jobs, infrastructure investments in transportation, building new schools, already produced 30,000 jobs. Under Jon Corzine, New Jersey was the first state in the country to have a mortgage modification plan, and guess what? Your home foreclosure rate is only 1/2 the national average. You should be proud of that. Under Jon Corzine, New Jersey ranks first in the nation in high school graduation rates and preschool enrollments, and since he's been governor, 50,000 young people have entered preschool programs. He was the first New Jersey governor in 60 years to reduce the size of government, cut the budget 2 years in a row. The last budget was almost $2 billion less than the first budget he passed, and yet he's put almost $1 billion into education funding, new money. That's good management of the money that you gave the government. Then you begin to slip in the rankings. You were only second in the country among all 50 states in reducing the percentage of your people who are uninsured without health insurance, a drop of 11% with 100,000 new kids added to the rolls of children with health insurance. And unbelievably enough, New Jersey on this cloudy night ranks second in the country, second only to California, which is both bigger and sunnier, second in solar energy production, and over 20,000 new green energy jobs have been created in this state. And you rank second in paid family leave, the second state in America to give paid family leave, a big deal to working families. You rank third of all 50 states in the overall math and reading scores of your elementary school students, and third in closing the racial achievement gap in reading among kids in elementary schools. And while all this is going on, he did a pretty good job of running the rest of the government. Listen to this. New Jersey got $17 billion out of the stimulus package. That's more than 3%. It's the first time in anybody's memory that this state got a higher percentage of federal aid than your percentage of the national population. That was a miracle, and you needed it at the time. He stopped raiding the unemployment trust fund. Instead of taking $5 billion out, put $500 million in. He passed pension reform and put more funds in 3 years into the public pension funds than had been contributed in the previous 15 years. His criminal justice reforms helped to give you a 12% drop in the murder rate and a 7.5% drop in the violent crime rate. He had higher education reforms. This is a big deal to me. This is the most devastating economic statistic almost no American knows. We dropped from 1st to 10th in this decade in the percentage of our young adults with four-year college degrees. After being first from the end of World War II with the GI Bill till 2001, we dropped. Why? Because after inflation, college costs went up 75%. You know what he did? He not only put more money into college aid, but capped tuition at state universities and colleges to 3% increase. 3%. And finally, he gave $7 billion in property tax relief, including 70,000 more seniors getting it, and 300,000 working families got an increase in the earned income tax credit. Why is this a race? Now, I'll tell you why. Furthermore, he's got great plans for the future. Keep in mind, this energy business has just started to produce jobs for you. This economic recovery program, the infrastructure plan alone will give you 44,000 permanent jobs a year when it's completed. All these things are in progress. He is a work in progress. The guy is a dynamo of energy and ideas. So what happened yesterday is just evidence of what's going to happen tomorrow. And you know as well as I do why it's a race, because times are tough all over. Because most people don't have time to think about this. They're worried about putting food on the table for their kids, or whether they're going to hold on to their job, or whether they're ever going to find another job, or whether they can keep their little business open for 60 more days. You know why. So when people are frustrated and they're fearful, they think, well, we ought to throw the rascals out. Well, you should throw the rascals out, but you shouldn't throw somebody who is part of the solution, not the problem, out. You ought to keep that person in. So, you got a week. You've got a week, and every one of you knows somebody who is either frustrated and going to vote against everybody who's in, or more likely, and a bigger problem for us, discouraged and think it's not worth voting. Believe me, it's worth voting. State after state after state in America would kill for these numbers I just gave you. It's okay that people don't know this. They're hurting. They don't have time. But you do know it. And now that I just told you, you don't have an excuse for not sharing it. And look, when you feel the world closing in on you and you're under tension, that's the most important time to think and act. I was thinking about it this weekend because I'm like most men. I watch sports on the weekend when I probably should be watching the news or something, or reading some elevating book. And I was watching these race car drivers going into these turns. You know, when they go into these turns, I actually drove around the Charlotte Speedway once. You have to go faster into the turns. And the great drivers, when the cars get close, the turns get hairy, they calm down and they see everything and they act. The ones who are fearful and can't concentrate and can't calm down run into the wall. You watch these football games on the weekend. The great quarterbacks are the ones that keep looking at the field even when these 300-pound behemoths are about to crush them, right? They are. They're calm and they complete the pass. That's what voting is for people in trouble this year. You cannot let people let their fears, their frustration, their discouragement keep them from the polls. It is just as important to vote now as it was 2 years ago, because the shape and speed of the recovery, the shape, the speed, and the quality of the health care reform, everything that happens in the next 4 years in New Jersey will be heavily determined by the governor and the allies in the legislature. I am telling you, this is a big deal. You have been very good to me, and I tried to be good back. But I never, ever gave you a piece of advice more important. Look, I'm proud of the work that the president's trying to do on the economy, on health care, and energy. I'm proud of the work he and Hillary are trying to do to restore our image around the world. I'm proud of that. But I was a governor 50% more longer than I was president. And I know what your life is like depends on this governor's race. I know it. And I think you know it. And your job is to take the next 6.5 days and make sure that everybody else in New Jersey knows it. If they know this, you know what will happen. Jon Corzine will be reelected with Lieutenant Governor Weinberg. Thank you, and God bless you.